Can You Love the Gentleman? From Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 3, by William Shakespeare. Recorded for LibriVox.org by Shurtagal. What say you? Can you love the gentleman? This night you shall behold him at our feast. Read over the volume of young Paris' face, and find delight writ there with beauty's pen. Examine every married lineament, and see how one another lends content. And what obscured in this fair volume lies, find written in the margent of his eyes, this precious book of love. This unbound lover to beautify him only lacks a cover. The fish lives in the sea, and 'tis much pride, for fair without the fair within to hide. That book in many's eyes doth share the glory, that in gold clasped locks in the golden story. So shall you share all that he doth possess, by having him, making yourself no less. End of Can You Love the Gentleman from Act 1, Scene 3 of Romeo and Juliet. This recording is in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org.
Bolingbroke's monologue, Bring Forth These Men, from Richard II, Act 3, Scene 1, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Bring forth these men. Bushy and green, I will not vex your souls, since presently your souls must part your bodies. With too much urging your pernicious lives, for 'twere no charity. Yet, to wash your blood from off my hands, here in the view of men, I will unfold some causes of your deaths. You have misled a prince, a royal king, a happy gentleman in blood and lineaments, by you unhappied and disfigured clean. You have in manner with your sinful hours made a divorce betwixt his queen and him, broke the possession of a royal bed, and stained the beauty of a fair queen's cheeks with tears drawn from her eyes by your foul wrongs. Myself, a prince by fortune of my birth, near to the king in blood, and near in love, till you did make him misinterpret me, have stooped my neck under your injuries, and sighed my English breath in foreign clouds, eating the bitter bread of banishment, whilst you have fed upon my signories, disparked my parks, and felled my forest woods, from my own windows torn my household coat, raised out my impress, leaving me no sign, save men's opinions and my living blood, to show the world I am a gentleman. This and much more than twice all this, condemns you to the death. See them delivered over to execution and the hand of death. End of Bolingbroke's monologue, Bring Forth These Men, from Richard II, Act 3, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Lloyd, Melbourne, Australia.
Romeo and Juliet, Act 4, Scene 3, Line 15, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. I have a faint cold fear thrills through my veins that almost freezes up the heat of life. I'll call them back again to comfort me. Nurse! What should she do here? My dismal scene, I needs must act alone. Come, Vial. What if this mixture does not work at all? Shall I be married, then, tomorrow morning? No. This shall forbid it. Lie thou there. What if it be a poison, which the friar subtly hath ministered to have me dead? lest in this marriage he should be dishonored, because he married me before to Romeo? I fear it is, and yet methinks it should not, for he hath still been tried a holy man. How if, when I am laid into the tomb, I wake before the time that Romeo come to redeem me? There's a fearful point. Shall I not then be stifled in the vault, to whose foul mouth no healthsome air breathes in, and there die strangled ere my Romeo comes? Or, if I live, is it not very like the horrible conceit of death and night, together with the terror of the place, as in a vault an ancient receptacle, where for these many hundred years the bones of all my buried ancestors are packed, where bloody Tybalt, yet but green in earth, lies festering in his shroud, where, as they say, at some hours in the night spirits resort. Alack, alack, is it not that I, so early waking with that loathsome smells, and shrieks like mandrakes torn out of the earth, that living mortals, hearing them, run mad? Oh, if I awake, shall I not be distraught, environed with all these hideous fears, and madly play with my forefathers' joints, and plucked and mangled Tybalt from his shroud, and in this rage, with some great kinsman's bone, as with a club dash out my desperate brains? Oh, look! Methinks I see my cousin's ghost, seeking out Romeo, that did spit his body upon a rapier's point. Stay, Tybalt, stay! Romeo, I come! This do I drink to thee.
End of Romeo and Juliet. From Romeo and Juliet, Act 4, Scene 3, Line 15. This recording is in the public domain.
Gaunt's monologue, Methinks I Am a Prophet New Inspired, from Richard II, Act 2, Scene 1 by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Methinks I am a prophet new inspired, and thus expiring do foretell of him. His rash, fierce blaze of riot cannot last, for violent fires soon burn out themselves. Small showers last long, but sudden storms are short. He tires betimes that spurs too fast betimes. With eager feeding, food doth choke the feeder. Light, vanity, insatiate cormorant, consuming means, soon preys upon itself. This royal throne of kings, this sceptred isle, this earth of majesty, this seat of Mars, this other Eden, demi-paradise, this fortress built by nature for herself against infection and the hand of war. This happy breed of men, this little world, this precious stone, set in the silver sea, which serves it in the office of a wall or as a moat defensive to a house against the envy of less happier lands. This blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England, this nurse, this teeming womb of royal kings, feared by their breed and famous by their birth, renowned for their deeds as far from home for Christian service and true chivalry, as is the sepulchre in stubborn Jewry of the world's ransom, blessed Mary's Son. This land of such dear souls, this dear, dear land, dear for her reputation through the world, is now leased out. I die pronouncing it, like to a tenement or pelting farm. England, bound in with the triumphant sea, whose rocky shore beats back the envious siege of watery Neptune, is now bound in with shame, with inky blots and rotten parchment bonds. That England that was wont to conquer others hath made a shameful conquest of itself. Ah, would the scandal vanish with my life! How happy then were my ensuing death. End of Gaunt's monologue, Methinks I Am a Prophet New Inspired, from Richard II, Act 2, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Rod Lloyd, Melbourne, Australia.
The More My Wrong, from The Taming of the Shrew, Act 4, Scene 3, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Melissa. The more my wrong, the more his spite appears. What, did he marry me to famish me? Beggars that come unto my father's door, upon entreaty have a present alms. If not, elsewhere they meet with charity. But I, who never knew how to entreat, nor never needed that I should entreat, am starved for meat, giddy for lack of sleep, with oath kept waking, and with brawling fed. And that which spites me more than all these wants, he does it under name of perfect love. As who should say, if I should sleep or eat, 'twere deadly sickness, or else present death. I prithee go and get me some repast, I care not what, so it be wholesome food. End of The More My Wrong, from The Taming of the Shrew, Act 4, Scene 3. This recording is in the public domain.
Oh, then I see Queen Mab hath been with you, from Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 4, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Vin Riley. Oh, then I see Queen Mab hath been with you. She is the fairies' midwife, and she comes in shape no bigger than an agate stone on the forefinger of an alderman, drawn with a team of little atomies athwart men's noses as they lie asleep. Her waggon's spokes made of long spinners' legs, the cover of the wings of grasshoppers, her traces of the smallest spider's web, her collars of the moonshine's watery beams, her whip of cricket's bone, the lash of film, her waggoner a small grey-coated gnat, not half so big as a round little worm pricked from the lazy finger of a maid. Her chariot is an empty hazel-nut, made by the joiner squirrel or old grub, time out of mind the fairies' coachmakers. And in this state she gallops night by night through lovers' brains, and then they dream of love, or courtiers' knees that dream on curtsies straight, or lawyers' fingers who straight dream on fees, or ladies' lips who straight on kisses dream, which oft the angry Mab with blisters plagues, because their breaths with sweetmeats tainted are. Sometimes she gallops o'er a courtier's nose, and then dreams he of smelling out a suit, and sometime comes she with a tithe-pig's tail, tickling a parson's nose as a lies asleep, then dreams he of another benefice. Sometimes she driveth o'er a soldier's neck, and then dreams he of cutting foreign throats, of breaches, ambuscados, Spanish blades, of healths 5 fathom deep, and then anon drums in his ear, at which he starts and wakes, and being thus frighted, swears a prayer or two and sleeps again. This is that very Mab that plats the manes of horses in the night, and bakes the elf-locks in foul sluttish hairs, which once untangled much misfortune bodes. This is the hag, when maids lie on their backs, that presses them and learns them first to bear, making them women of good carriage. This is she. End of Oh, Then I See Queen Mab hath been with you, from Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 4. This recording is in the public domain.
Fie, fie, unknit that threatening unkind brow. From The Taming of the Shrew, Act 5, Scene 2, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Fie, fie! Unknit that threatening unkind brow, and dart not scornful glances from those eyes. To wound thy lord, thy king, thy governor, it blots thy beauty as frosts do bite the meads, confounds thy fame as whirlwinds shake fair buds, and in no sense is meet or amiable. A woman moved is like a fountain troubled, muddy, ill-seeming, thick, bereft of beauty, and while it is so, none so dry or thirsty will deign to sip or touch one drop of it. Thy husband is thy lord, thy life, thy keeper, thy head, thy sovereign, one that cares for thee, and for thy maintenance commits his body to painful labor, both by sea and land, to watch the night in storms, the day in cold, whilst thou liest warm at home, secure and safe, and craves no other tribute at thy hands but love, fair looks, and true obedience. Too little payment for so great a debt. Such duty as the subject owes the prince, even such a woman oweth to her husband. And when she is froward, peevish, sullen, sour, and not obedient to his honest will, what is she but a foul contending rebel, and graceless traitor to her loving lord? I am ashamed that women are so simple, to offer war where they should kneel for peace, or seek for rule, supremacy, and sway, when they are bound to serve, love, and obey. Why are our bodies soft and weak and smooth, unapt to toil and trouble in the world, but that our soft conditions and our hearts should well agree with our external parts? Come, come, you froward and unable worms, my mind hath been as big as one of yours, my heart is great, my reason haply more, to bandy word for word and frown for frown. But now I see our lances are but straws, our strength is weak, our weakness past compare, that seeming to be most which we indeed least are. Then veil your stomachs, for it is no boot, and place your hands below your husband's foot, in token of which duty, if he please, my hand is ready, may it do him ease. End of Fie, unknit that threatening unkind brow. From The Taming of the Shrew, Act 5, Scene 2. This recording is in the public domain.
Hamlet's Monologue, To Be or Not to Be, from Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Ay, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin. Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment with this regard their currents turn awry, and lose the name of action. Soft you now, the fair Ophelia, nymph in thy orisons, be all my sins remembered. End of Hamlet's monologue, To Be or Not to Be, from Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Rod Lloyd, Melbourne, Australia.
If We Shadows Have Offended, from A Midsummer Night's Dreams, Act 5, Scene 2, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear, and this weak and idle theme, no more yielding but a dream. Gentles, do not reprehend. If you pardon, we will mend. And as I am an honest puck, if we have unearned luck, now to scape the serpent's tongue, we will make amends ere long. Else the puck a liar call. So good night unto you all. Give me your hands if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends. End of If We Shadows Have Offended, from A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 5, Scene 2. This recording is in the public domain.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Asleep, My Love, from A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 5, Scene 1, line 324, by William Shakespeare. Read for LibriVox by James Neal, Waukegan, Illinois, March 27th, 2008. Asleep, my love? What? Dead, my dove? Oh, Pyramus, arise! Speak, speak! Quite dumb? Dead? Dead? A tomb must cover thy sweet eyes. These my lips, this cherry nose, these yellow cowslip cheeks are gone, are gone. Lovers make moan, his eyes were green as leeks. Oh, sisters three, come, come to me, with hands as pale as milk. Lay them in gore. Since you have shore with shears his thread of silk. Tongue, not a word. Come, trusty sword. Come, blade, my breast imbrue. Ah! Ah! ends. Adieu, adieu, adieu. End of Asleep, My Love, from A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 5, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain. Recorded by James Neal, Waukegan, Illinois.
What light through yonder window breaks, from Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, Scene 2, by William Shakespeare. Recorded for LibriVox.org by Shurtagal. But soft! What light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief. That thou her maid art far more fair than she, be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. It is my lady, oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses, I will answer it. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. But if her eyes were there, they in her head, the brightness of her cheek would shame those stars as daylight doth a lamp. Her eyes in heaven would through the airy regions stream so bright, that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek. End of recording. This recording is in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org.
Hermione, from The Winter's Tale, Act 3, Scene 2, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Heather. Sir, spare your threats. The bug which you would fright me with, I seek. To me can life be no commodity. The crown and comfort of my life, your favour, I do give lost, for I do feel it gone, but know not how it went. My second joy, and first fruits of my body, from his presence I am barred like one infectious. My third comfort, started most unluckily, is from my breast. The innocent milk in its most innocent mouth hailed out murder. Myself on every post proclaimed a strumpet. With immodest hatred, the child-bed privilege denied which longs to women of all fashion. Lastly, hurried here to this place in the open air, before I have got strength of limit. Now, my liege, tell me, what blessings I have here alive, that I should fear to die. Therefore proceed. But yet hear this. Mistake me not. No life, I prize it, not a straw, but for mine honour, which I would free, if I shall be condemned upon surmises, all proof sleeping else, but what your jealousies awake, I tell you, 'tis rigour and not law. Your honours all, I do refer me to the oracle. Apollo be my judge. End of Hermione, from The Winter's Tale, Act 3, Scene 2. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Heather Chan, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. How happy some or other some can be. From A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 1, Scene 1 by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Heather. How happy some or other some can be. Through Athens I am thought as fair as she. But what of that? Demetrius thinks not so. He will not know what all, but he do know. And as he errs, doting on Hermia's eyes, so I, admiring of his qualities, things base and vile, folding no quantity. Love can transpose to form and dignity. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind. Nor hath love's mind of any judgment taste, wings no eyes figure unheedy haste. And therefore is love said to be a child, because in choice he is so oft beguiled. As waggish boys in game themselves forswear, so the boy love is perjured everywhere. For ere Demetrius looked on Hermia's eyne, he hailed down oaths that he was only mine. And when this hail some heat from Hermia felt, so he dissolved, and showers of oaths did melt. I will go tell him of fair Hermia's flight, then to the woods will he tomorrow night pursue her. And for this intelligence, if I have thanks, it is a dear expense. But herein mean I to enrich my pain, to have his sight thither and back again. End of How Happy Some or Other Some Can Be, from A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 1, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Heather Chan, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. The Player Queen, from Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 2 by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Heather. So many journeys may the sun and moon make us again count or ere love be done. But woe is me, you are so sick of late, so far from cheer and from your former state, that I distrust you. Yet though I discomfort you, my lord, it nothing must, for woman's fear in love holds quantity, in neither aught or in extremity. Now what my love is, proof hath made you know, and as my love is sized, my fear is so. Where love is great, the littlest doubts are fear. Where little fear grows great, great love grows there. End of Player Queen, from Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 2. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Heather Chan, Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
To Be or Not to Be. Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1 by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Eloise Oizon. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep no more, and by sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Ay, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of? Thus, conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment with this regard their current turns awry, and lose the name of action. End of To Be or Not to Be, Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Eloise Oizon, Rochester, New York, U.S. If We Shadows Have Offended, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 5, Scene 2, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Eloise Oizon. If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here whilst these visions did appear, and this weak and idle theme no more yielding but a dream. Gentles, do not reprehend. If you pardon, we will mend, and as I am an honest puck, if we have unearned luck now to scape the serpent's tongue, we will make amends ere long, else the puck a liar call. So, good night unto you all. Give me your hands, if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends. And, If We Shadows Have Offended, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 5, Scene 2. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Eloise Oizon, Rochester, New York, U.S. The Raven Himself is Hoarse. From Macbeth, Act 1, Scene 5, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The raven himself is hoarse, that croaks the final entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits, that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood, stop the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor to keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breasts, and take milk for gall, you murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief. Come, thick night, and pall thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, "Hold, hold." End of The Raven Himself is Hoarse. Macbeth, Act 1, Scene 5. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Eloise Oizon, Rochester, New York, U.S.
Prologue from Henry V by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Sheldon Greaves. Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry like himself assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, gentles all, the flat upraised spirits that hath dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France? Or may we cram within this wooden O the very casques that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon, since a crooked figure may attest in little place a million, and let us, ciphers to this great accompt, on your imaginary forces work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined two mighty monarchies, whose high upreared and abutting fronts the perilous narrow ocean parts asunder. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts, into 1,000 parts divide one man, and make imaginary puissance. Think when we talk of horses that you see them, printing their proud hooves of the receiving earth. For 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carry them here and there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply permit me, chorus to this history, who prologue like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge, our play. End of Prologue from Henry V by William Shakespeare. This recording is in the public domain.
But I do think it is their husbands' faults. From Othello, Act 4, Scene 3, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Carolyn Francis. But I do think it is their husbands' faults if wives do fall. Say that they slack their duties, and pour our treasures into foreign laps, or else break out in peevish jealousies, throwing restraint upon us, or say they strike us, or scant our former having in despite. Why, we have galls, and though we have some grace, yet have we some revenge. Let husbands know their wives have sense like them. They see and smell and have their palates both for sweet and sour, as husbands have. What is it that they do when they change us for others? Is it sport? I think it is. And doth affection breed it? I think it doth. Is't frailty that thus errs? It is so too. And have not we affections, desires for sport, and frailty as men have? Then let them use us well, else let them know the ills we do, their ills instruct us so. End of But I do think it is their husbands' faults, from Othello, Act 4, Scene 3. This recording is in the public domain.
All the World's a Stage, from As You Like It, Act 2, Scene 7, by William Shakespeare. Read for LibriVox.org by Shurtagal. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy, with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school, and then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad, made to his mistress' eyebrow, then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honour, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth, and then the justice, in fair round belly with good cap and lined, with eyes severe and beard a formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose, well saved, a world too wide, for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice, turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. End of All the World's the Stage, from As You Like It, Act 2, Scene 7. This recording is in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org.